Welcome back to Let's Play Yandere-Chan. It is the 23rd of December, so basically, while I'm recording this anyway, this will be, if I'm guessing correctly here, I plan on uploading the part before this tomorrow on the 24th, and I'm having like a 2-day kind of schedule thing with this one, for some reason. So this will be uploaded on the 26th, the day after Christmas. And you know what I've got to say about this season? And whenever anyone's like, it's the most wonderful time of the... No. I feel like in recent years, Grumpy Cat kind of sums up my feelings towards any time of year when people are celebrating. I'm just like, no. It's winter, for crying out loud. I just like, it's heavy winds outside, it's pissing down with rain, the sun is nowhere to be seen. I just want to sleep, but it's just like, god damn. How could you say this is the most wonderful time of the year? Maybe if you're a kid, but once you get older, it's just like, Yeah, I'm a grumpy bastard lately. Well, anyways, let's continue. Load. It was this save point that we were at last, wasn't it? If I recall, you were a complete freaking yandere. I mean, that's kind of what you do. I mean, that's the title of a Yandere-Chan and all. But why did you do it? Seriously, was it the calculator? Was it because, like, you just like, hey, you hang out with your friends instead of me, so I'm gonna kill you as well. You crazy bitch. Let's sit with Mia instead. It didn't feel right to just leave Mia all by her lonesome. I decided that today I was going to sit and have lunch with her. I went over to the others and told them that I wouldn't be eating with them today. They were disappointed by the sudden change of plan. Don't worry guys, you won't die as a result. Luckily, I checked. I apologized and promised that I'd sit with them tomorrow. Then I went over to Mia's desk. Hey, is this seat taken? Huh? You look a little lonely over here. I think you could use some company. That is, if it's okay with you. Mia looked away bashfully. She wasn't likely to admit it, but I could tell that she wanted me to sit with her. I took the initiative and pulled up a seat. So what's on the menu for today? Is it death again? Because if so, I'm out of here. Huh? I just couldn't help but notice that big old lunchbox in front of you, and that smell of poison from it. That seems awfully suspicious. Whatever you've got in there, it smells good. I hear you're not much on eating lunch most days. Is today a special occasion? Special occasion? Maya dwelled on that question for a moment. Yes, today is special. Oh, what's so special about today? It's special because today Echo's eating lunch with me. And if it was with friends, you'd get the shitty dish, man. You'd be screwed. Huh? Well, that was a pretty drastic turnaround. Maya had gone from timid to... no time flat. It was just like yesterday when I first met her. Apparently this girl was able to switch between happy and gloomy at the drop of her hat. Well, the important thing was that I managed to get her to come out of her shell. I just had to make sure that she stayed out. I never realized that you thought so strongly of me. I was imagining I was just another face in the crowd. Not at all. Having Echo come and eat lunch with me is like a dream come true for me. I knew you'd come and sit with me today, so I made a special lunch to commemorate that. Oh, please, all this fuss over little old me. That laugh again. I had to admit that was kind of creepy. I mean, just how did Maya anticipate that I was going to sit with her today? I still had no idea why she was so fond of me. It supposedly meant because we boarded the same train. But just how much interaction did we have that would warrant this kind of behavior? Oh well. I suppose so. It helps. We become more sociable. It didn't really matter. There'd be plenty of time to ask her about our past encounters later. For the time being, I figured I'd just play along and see what would happen. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm starving. If it's alright with you, I'm gonna go ahead and dig in. I have my lunchbox and started eating. Ah? When Mia got a glimpse of my food, her eyes went wide with surprise.
Echo's lunch looks so good. It looks really delicious. I wish my lunch was like that.
I appreciate the compliment, but it's really nothing particularly awe-inspiring. I wasn't just being modest either. My lunch consisted of nothing more than an omelette with some rice on the side. Granted, I'd added some chilies into the omelette to give it a little extra flavor, but it's hardly worth being praised for. See what I mean about this time of year, man? I'm freaking just tired all the time. Just like, I can't be asked to do shit. Just like yesterday, I finished the Water Temple in Ocarina of Time LP, and I was like, oh man, that was a pain in the ass. I think it took like 4 or 5 parts total. I was surprised I was able to get through it that quickly, actually. Just like I thought it would take forever, but no. Come on, man. Show me what you bought for lunch. I'm sure it's a whole lot better than my simple little dish. Yeah, just don't eat the veal ones, man. For a moment, Mia was silent. At first, I thought she might have been embarrassed to show me her food, but then I noticed that she was no longer blushing. Instead, it looked more like she was contemplating something. After a moment, Maya reached under her desk and pulled out a bowl. Eh? She sealed the bowl in her lap and picked up her lunchbox. With the lunchbox tilted towards her, Maya opened the lid, grabbed a fork, and swiftly scooped whatever was inside into the bowl. Before I got a chance to see what was inside the lunchbox, Mia closed the lid and put it away. She then took the bowl out of her lap and placed it on the desk. Yeah, that seemed rather excessive, didn't it? Why didn't you just eat straight from the lunchbox? It's going to have more dirty dishes now. Well, anyway, let's see what you got in there. Maya moved the bowl towards me. Oh, I was pretty surprised by what I saw. Inside the bowl was some green pasta ravioli, I believe topped off with tomato paste and cheese. Was this the ravioli that wasn't, poisoned? I think it is. Even before I got a look at it, I was hit by the wonderful aroma of herbs and spices. And yet somehow Maya believed that my crappy ordinary omelette was better than this. I looked back up at Maya, who was facing away in embarrassment.
See? It's nowhere near as good as Echo's lunch.
I can't tell if you really believe that or if you're just mocking me.
No, it's true.
Well, if that's how you really feel, perhaps we should just trade lunches. You can have my fantastic omelette and I'll just have to suffer through your terrible ravioli filled with... what's it filled with?
Cheese.
Yeah, because if I recall, the cheese ones were the ones that Maya was eating because they weren't the poisoned ones, and the veal ones were the poisoned ones.
Cheese! But if I eat Echo's omelette, all of the time and effort he put into it will be wasted on me.
Time and effort? I whipped this thing up in like 3 minutes, and the rice was made in a rice cooker.
Maybe so, but the point is that you made it.
So you're saying that I could just walk on in here tomorrow with a butter sandwich and you'd react in exactly the same way as you are now, simply because I was the one who made it?
Of course.
You're an odd one, Matt. Look, let's just agree that each of us have good tasting lunches and leave it at that. Besides, didn't you say that you made this pasta because it was a special occasion?
Right, because Echo is sitting with me today.
So I guess what she, planned was, if he invites me to come over with his friends, you're getting the veal, you bastard. And if it's just like the two of them, you get the cheese. Well, it sure would be a shame to let it get cold because we're just sitting here arguing. If it's alright with you, may I try some? Maya took her fork and stuck it into the bowl. She sifted through the pasta for a few seconds without saying anything. Looked like she was searching for something in the bowl, but she was probably just stirring the sauce around to try and coat the pasta more evenly. When she was finished, she put the fork down and moved the bowl towards me. Thank you, ma'am. Maya changed her tune pretty fast. Now she seemed delighted that I wanted to try her pasta. Well, I wasn't about to disappoint her. I stuck my fork into the bowl and pulled out some pasta, making sure to get more sauce on it as well. Well, some sauce on it. But, just as I was about to stick it in my mouth, I remember my lunchbox was sitting in front of me. Didn't seem right for me to be the only one sharing her food. Please don't be shy. Try some of my omelet. Just be careful. I added some chilies to it, so it'll be a little hot.
Oh, thank you.
Maya's eyes suddenly lit up. Clearly, she had been waiting for me to offer her a sample. She hesitantly pulled my lunchbox over to her side. She didn't do that last time, did she? She was just like, no, Echo, eat the poison, say, ah. Remember that? That was messed up shit. I waited until she had some omelet on her fork before I went ahead while eating my pasta. I ended up sampling each other's lunches at the same time.
Oh, this is great. This is wonderful.
And then we both ended up praising each other at the same time in the same weird-like way. We spent the rest of the lunch break sharing and complimenting on each other's lunches. We were having such a good time that we almost didn't hear the afternoon bell ring. When school ended, I was invited by my friends to go with them to the arcade. But I figured since I had already made so much progress with Maya today that I should just keep it up until the day was over. Smart move, somewhat. I didn't want her to revert back to her antisocial self just because I chose to spend the rest of the day with my friends instead of her. I apologized to my friends and walked over to Maya, who was waiting for me at the door. Ready to go, Maya?
Yes.
In much the same way as yesterday, Maya and I spent the time drinking soda and chatting while we waited for our train to arrive. It was nice to see her in such high spirits, but I couldn't help but wonder how to make her behave the same way when interacting with other people. And again, I wasn't sure how to make her interact with other people, period. And I guess it was just going to take some time. Until then, I'll just have to act as Maya's social sparring partner. An odd choice of words, but it still summed up what I needed to do.
Ah, here we go.
After a while, our train came rolling into the station. We stood up, threw away our empty cans, and climbed aboard. After we boarded the train, Maya went completely silent. We didn't speak to each other for the entire train ride. We just sat there together watching the passengers come and go as we moved from one station to the next. It wasn't until we finally arrived at our stop that looked suspiciously like the stop by the school that Maya finally spoke.
Echo?
I turned to face her. What's up?
I was wondering,
It looked like Maya was struggling to find the right words to use. She had her head down and was blushing pretty heavily. I waited patiently for her to say what she wanted to say. Finally, she spoke up.
would you like to come over to my place tonight?
Huh?
Huh? I just thought it'd be nice for Echo to come and stay. Would you like to?
This was unexpected. I don't think I've ever been asked over to a girl's house before. Much less a girl that I've only just met. I wasn't sure how to respond. Though Maya would probably tell from looking at my face that I was having trouble coming up with an answer.
You can't? That's not it. I appreciate the invite, but, it was just so sudden. I mean, what would your parents think if you suddenly brought a boy home? Oh, that's not a problem at all. I live by myself. Wait, what? Really? Uh-huh.
Well, that would solve one problem, I guess. I wouldn't have to endure the awkwardness of listening to Maya trying to explain to her parents why she brought a boy home with her. But I couldn't help but think it would also create other problems. Primarily the punishment I'd likely receive from my mother if I come home too late. I can't call her because the batteries in my phone are dead. If I called them using Maya's phone or a public one, she'd suspect that something was amiss and I'd most likely receive a greater punishment. She hurts me because she loves me. Whatever helps her sleep at night, lady. Little wonder I haven't developed into some kind of sociopath. Hold on a sec. So, from what little we know about the protagonist, he's just like, gets quite a great deal of an ass kicking for doing anything like that is like, yeah. That doesn't sound quite right, does it? At that point, I suddenly remembered. I mean, there is discipline and all, and then there's just like, going a bit too far with like physical abuse there. My mum was attending a business meeting tonight. I remembered her telling me this morning that she wouldn't be home until really late. Which means I could go off to Maya's place for a little while and be back before she even got home. But talk about convenient. It was like the gods of fortune were finally going to cut me some slack.
You know what, Maya? Huh? I'd love to come over to your place. Huh? Really? Sure. My mum's not due back home for a while, so I figured if you have plenty of time to kill, why not spend it with you? You really mean it? You're not joking, right, Echo? This isn't a trick? You really want to come over? As of right now, I am in your care. I thank you for welcoming me into your humble abode. Bow. Echo. Welcome. Please enjoy your stay.
I was never seen or heard from again after that day. Well, that's an abrupt bad end, isn't it? So, yeah, what the hell? Was she still pissed off about the calculator? Still, seriously, doesn't explain shit. I don't understand this character. I know she's Yandere and all, but Aunt Yandere is like... Or maybe she was, like, coming on too strong when they got there, and Echo, like, was like, no, 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 and then he ended up dead as a result. You know how Yandere chicks are, they're freaking crazy. Well, let's load and ignore her this time and see what happens. Maya may have brought food with her today, but that wasn't worth making a big fuss over. I figured now wasn't the best time to try and get her to interact with the other kids. I needed to wait for a more opportune time to get things started. It wouldn't be right to just drag Maya over to our table and force her to socialize. That would cause her to shut down completely. Or worse, poison you. Like she did last time, remember that? Bastard. This process needed to be handled very delicately. I needed some time to come up with a strategy. Maybe I should discuss it with the others at some point. Besides, Maya was already used to being alone. What difference would it really make if she ate by herself today as well? That being said, I went over and ate lunch with the other kids. After a few minutes, I heard Maya stand up and walk out of the classroom. I guess she decided to go eat lunch in the library. Wonder if that was even allowed. Oh well, I'll see her again after lunch, and I almost forgot that we take the train together as well. Sorry, Maya. Please hang in there a little bit longer. After a while, I needed to go to the toilet. I excused myself from the group and left the classroom. Much better. I feel like getting out what you really gotta get out. Probably shouldn't have mixed those chilies into my omelet. Anyway, it tasted great, but they did a real number on my digestive system. I think I just stick to good old pepper from now on. Random conversation with yourself there. I left the restroom in a visibly satisfied manner. Just as well, nobody was around to hear me talking like that. Nobody wants to hear someone talking about doing their business. I stand correctly. All of a sudden, I noticed Maya standing in front of an open window across from the restrooms. Damn it again with a cat-like stealth! How the hell does she do that? Also, how much of my embarrassing little, did she hear or whatever? I walked over to the mirror and stood beside her. I considered asking her, but I didn't want to draw any more attention to it than there already was. Hey, Maya, you're back early. Class doesn't resume for another 10 minutes. I figured I'd just try and draw her attention away from it altogether. She just glanced at me, and then went back to staring out the window. A light breeze blew through her hair. Although she was wearing her inhibited, vacant expression, I had a gut feeling that Maya was upset with me. Which, when I thought about it, was perfectly understandable, and is completely very, very much worse than any usual case where someone is mad at you. Or upset, or whatever. Yesterday, the two of us spent a great deal of time together at the station and on the train home. During that time, she was very vibrant and cheery. But today I chose to go sit with my friends and leave her alone, so it's possible that in Maya's eyes I was neglecting her. As far as I knew, I was the only person in the whole school that she was comfortable with. That wasn't right. She shouldn't have to rely on just one person to be friends with her. School is a place for children to develop and build strong bonds with each other. I wanted Maya to have the chance to make lasting friends. Well, at this rate, I guess by my slow-paced attempt to assimilate her into human society would have to be sped up a bit. I need to come up with a way to make her feel more comfortable around other people. But before I did that, I needed to apologize for how I treated her in the classroom.
Listen, Maya, about earlier. Why does Echo go away?
Eh?
Why is it that when I have Echo, he suddenly disappears? How come he looks at me and just vanishes without saying anything? Why do other people stay but Echo always disappears? How come they don't disappear instead of Echo? Why don't they go away and leave us be? Why? Why is it this way, Echo? Tell me why it's like this. I want to know why. Tell me why, Echo.
Man, the girl was in far worse shape than I thought. I figured that she'd just felt a little neglected, but clearly I underestimated how bad things were for her. In a short time that Maya and I had been together, she had somehow managed to develop this huge obsession with me. Is that what a schoolgirl crush looked like? I've never been confessed to before, but I highly doubt it. I don't think this has anything to do with love. I was so socially awkward that when she finally met someone that she could talk to, she ended up pouring all of her repressed emotions onto them. And anybody else who interacted with that person was viewed as an obstacle to her. That's not right. This poor girl never learned how to properly interact with other people. Well, I was going to change that. I was going to help Maya learn how to interact with other people. I was going to make sure that when she graduated from the school, she would graduate alongside her friends. Call it chivalry, call it stupidity, call it whatever the hell you want, but I was going to do all that I could to help her.
If only they'd disappear.
Eh?
If they all disappeared, then I could be together with Echo. As long as they're around, they won't let me be with Echo. If they won't disappear, I'll just have to make them disappear myself.
Maya!
Huh?
Grip!
Echo,
What's wrong, Maya? That's just wrong!
you shouldn't have to be alone all the time. You shouldn't have to resent other people because you think they're preventing you from talking to me. You're more than welcome to join in and be a part of the group. The best part about going to school is being able to make friends who will stay with you forever. I want to help you do that. I want you to know what it's like to have friends. Hating people and wanting them to disappear, that's a terrible way to think. So please, don't say things like that anymore. Let me help make your time at this school enjoyable. Let me help you to be truly happy, Maya.
I was so wrapped up in my own monologue that I didn't even realize. I'd been holding my small body tightly against my chest for the entire time that I'd been talking.
Sorry. I guess they got a little carried away there.
I let go of her and began to step away. Grab, but she quickly wrapped her arms around me and pulled me back.
Maya?
Maya looked up at me and smiled.
Thank you, Echo. I always knew you cared. I knew you'd always be there for me.
I wrapped my arms around her small body.
Hey? Tell me of course I'll be there for you. You think I'd go through all this trouble to help you if I didn't plan to stick around? Don't you worry, Maya. I'm going to do everything I can to make your remaining days at school into happy ones. You already have, Echo.
Huh? What do you mean? Stab! While we were embracing, Maya stabbed me in the back with something sharp. My entire body went limp in her arms.
It's alright now, Echo. I don't need anybody else.
Maya whispered in a gentle tone. She tightened the embrace on my body and moved towards the window.
Maya, don't!
I tried to resist, but my spine had been paralyzed from the attack. All I could do was close my eyes and pray that somebody would show up and stop her before it was too late. But nobody came. Suddenly I could feel the wind blowing all around me. But it wasn't a tranquil feeling like earlier when we were standing by the window. Now it felt as if the wind was mocking me as I plummeted to my death. I dared not open my eyes. I didn't want to see how this was going to end. Grip!
Huh? Considering all that was happening, it took me a moment to notice, but I could still feel a tightness wrapped around my upper body. It couldn't be, could it? I hesitantly opened one eye. Eh? It was. From the moment I went to console her to the moment she pushed me out the window, not once had Maya broken away from my body. And here she was, still holding me in a tight embrace as we sailed through the sky. She looked up at me with an elated smile on her face. It was quite possibly the happiest I've ever seen her. I guess she really was happy just having me as her friend.
If everyone else won't disappear and let us be together, then the two of us will just have to disappear instead. Right, Echo?
That was a long-ass fall. Jeez, man, how tall was that school building? Bad end. God damn. It's always ridiculous when it does that. We heard the sound effect the whole time, like... And then it's just like, what the hell? Did we fall off a freaking skyscraper? What the hell? So yeah, if you clean the calculator, no matter what, even if you lead to this point here, it will always be a bad ending. The only good ending you can get if the calculator hasn't been tampered with, but you take it anyway, so you've got to be able to give it back outright for it to get to the good ending. Wait, I loaded the wrong file. Load this one. And that's when I finally noticed it. Maya still had the calculator out. So remember this, I think we switched to the other one in part 1 on part 2, I can't remember. But if you recall, I saved here and then went on to try the other choice, and it led to 3 bad endings, one that was ridiculously drawn out. But that wasn't what caught my attention. Get ready for it. Slurp, 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 slurp. At that point, the last puzzle piece suddenly fell into place. The staring, the reason for lying, the personality shift, the saliva on the calculator. All of my questions were answered with a single glance to my left. Check out this shit. In this. There was Maya, with calculator in hand, and she was licking it, right in the broken frame where I cut my leg. Her tongue was ravaging the inside like it was another person's mouth, specifically in the areas where my blood had seeped into, and the look on her face. What the hell? Ecstasy. Ecstasy. That was the only way to describe it. It was as if lapping up my blood was her single greatest pleasure in life. And if I had to guess, with the amount of force she was using, the blood would have to all have been gone by now. Slip, slip, slippity, slippity, slip, slip, slip. But she wasn't stopping. In fact, she was increasing her pace. If possible, she would probably have kept on licking until every trace of me was gone from the calculator. Slippity, 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 slip, slip, slip. This was absolute madness! Maya had rummaged through garbage purely for the sake of obtaining a calculator that contained traces of my blood in it that she could up it all up like a kitten drinking milk. At that point, I started thinking back on what I said to myself earlier. The other kids told me she was weird, and after talking to her for a while, I concluded that was not the case. She was just a bit of a daydreamer, but it turned out we were all wrong. Maya wasn't weird. She wasn't spacey. She was insane. Completely and utterly insane. Yeah, we kinda got that from the first part, really, when she, stabbed you with the scissors. Seriously, man, is she related to the Scissor Man from Clock Tower? As for whatever reason, well, her insanity was all directed at me. She's the missing member of the Burrows family! Ah! Swish! Swash! With a wild roar, I grabbed the calculator from Maya's hands and smashed it into the concrete. For a moment she remained seated, staring at her empty hands. Then she slowly stood up and just stared silently at the broken calculator on the ground. Then she turned to look at me.
Does this mean I can lick Echo's knee now?
Just as I thought. It wasn't about the calculator. It was never about the calculator. It was all about licking my blood. Seriously, if that's what led to, the bad end in the other one, which I doubt it, I think she probably just,
It doesn't even matter, really. She's just completely, batshit yandere insane. I refused to let her disinfect my knee. So instead, she went for the next best thing. I didn't know the specifics, but it was clear that this kid needed help. Grab! I grabbed Mia's shoulders and held her in place. She looked down at my knee, then slowly looked up at my face. This was scary. I was staring directly into her eyes, and all I could see was emptiness. Like looking into the eyes of a doll. What the hell happened to this girl? What made her become so crazy? Maya stared back down at my knee.
Echo never did put a band-aid on it. You said you were going to put a band-aid on it, but you didn't. Now Echo will get sick, unless you let me disinfect it. You don't want to get sick, do you, Echo? Let me disinfect it, so you don't get sick.
I tightened my grip on on her shoulders. Mia, the only sick person here is you!
And not just because you've been ingesting blood and God knows what else from that dirty calculator. You're not thinking straight. We need to get you to a hospital.
Echo, you're hurting me.
I could feel her struggling to get away, but I wasn't about to let that happen. She needed a doctor. She needed mental help. I know I'd only just met her that day, but I felt it was up to me to make sure that Maya didn't run off and hurt herself. Call it whichever, call it stupidity, we've had the same thing before. Call it whatever the hell you want. Isn't that exactly what you said that led to the other ending? But I was going to do all that I could to help her.
It hurt, Echo. It hurts. Why is Echo hurting me? Why are you doing such a thing, Echo?
Sorry, Maya, but you need to bear with it, because I'm not letting you go.
I scanned the station looking for someone to call out to. I figured if I could get somebody to call an ambulance, I could keep Maya subdued until they arrived. Then a paramedic could inject her with some kind of sedative and they could take her to the hospital. Hello? There's two L's in hello. I mean, I know you're gonna like the L's at the end there, but shouldn't there be another L? Somebody! We all need an ambulance over here! We need an ambulance over here! But damn my luck, the place was deserted.
Not even a lousy security guard. What, did they all clock off at the same exact time? This damn economy! It's making people's lives harder in so many ways. If it weren't for the current situation, I would have probably laughed at that remark.
It hurts, Echo. It hurts. Why are you hurting me, Echo? Why? Echo wouldn't do such a thing. Echo would never hurt me. That means you're not Echo. Who are you? Where's Echo? What have you done it with Echo? Give Echo back to me.
As Maya's rambling became more and more erratic, she began to struggle more violently.
Ow! Ah! Ain't no hidden below the belt!
Let go! Let go! Let go! You're not Echo. Echo wouldn't do such a thing. Give him back. Give my Echo back. Give Echo back to me.
Maya was fighting with all of her might to break free. I was beginning to lose my grip on her, in more ways than one.
Help! Anybody! Somebody call an ambulance!
As I struggled to keep her subdued, I called out into the empty station. Naturally, there was no response.
Yeah!
Maya struck me with a pardon me. Decision kick to the shin and managed to break away from my grasp. Oh, not the shin, man. Anything that hits the shin, it's always like, well, it's a kick or whatever. It's just like, ow, ow, ow. Only thing worse than that's below the belt, is the balls. As I gripped my leg in pain, she grabbed her school bag and started hitting me over the head with it.
Ah! Maya, get a hold of yourself!
Give him back. Give Echo back to me. Give him back and go die. Die, you Echo imposter. Die. Shitty, shitty, shitty.
Maya, please stop!
Die, 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 die.
It's me! It's Echo! I'm Echo, please recognize my voice!
That voice. Echo? Echo, is that you?
The frenzied attack stopped and Maya stared at me with wide eyes.
That's right, Maya. It's me, Echo. I mean, this voice, it's clearly the Echo the Dolphin voice. It's clearly Echo. I'm right here.
Echo.
Maya dropped to her knees and crawled over to me.
Echo! 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 It's you! You're here! I can hear you! What happened? Where did you go?
It doesn't matter. What's important is that you're okay.
When was I not okay?
Forget it. It seemed that Maya had instantly forgotten the entire ordeal. But I was okay with that. She had calmed down and nobody was hurt. Well, not severely anyway. My head and shin were throbbing something fierce. But nothing a painkiller wouldn't fix. Painkillers. With that thought in mind, I figured it was a good time to call for an ambulance and have them pick up Maya. Well, you were trying to do that whole time, but wherever I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. I turned it on and began to punch in the numbers. Don't worry, Maya. Everything's gonna be alright.
I know.
Huh? Suddenly I heard the sound of metal scraping against metal. I looked up at Maya. At some point while I was looking at my phone, she had reached into her school bag, pulled out a pair of scissors, and was moving slowly towards me. Clearly, you truly are a member of the Burrows family from Clock Tower. Hey, Maya, be careful with those. You don't want to go and cut yourself, do you?
Don't worry, Echo. It's going to be alright. Just leave everything to me. I'll have you out of there in no time.
Out of there? Out of where? What do you mean? What are you going to try and do?
Silly Echo. Acting like he doesn't know.
She giggled in a playful tone like it was all one big joke. Whatever the case, it looked like I was right back where I started. I took another step closer, brandishing the scissors in front of her. Your best option now, Echo, is to run. Just run. I leapt to my feet and moved back.
Why are you running? Hold still so I can help you. Let me help you, Echo.
Maya, just put the scissors down. Please, whatever it is you're doing, just stop.
That's strange. Could it be that Echo doesn't want my help? Why wouldn't Echo want me to help him? How odd. How very, very odd.
What help? What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're saying. Although given the circumstances, how could I? Still, I found myself trying to make sense of her words. I sank to my knees in disarray.
I guess Echo never even realized it himself.
What haven't I realized? Suddenly, I felt like I was going insane. Does explosion of madness create more madness? Yes, it does.
Echo. You're trapped.
Huh?
You're trapped inside the body of this creature who is trying to hurt me.
Ah!
At first I thought that maybe Echo had been replaced by a violent imposter, only wanted to make me suffer. But then I heard Echo's voice calling out to me. His kind, gentle voice telling me it was all okay. And that's when I finally understood. Echo was trapped inside this creature in front of me. And that's when I knew that it was up to me to save you.
What? You think I'm trapped inside a body that looks like mine? Because I tried to help?
Don't worry, I know it wasn't you yourself who was hurting me. It was all this imposter's doing. And Echo is just trapped inside its body. But it's alright now. Just hold still, because I'm gonna set you free. By cutting open its stomach and pulling you out!
Whoa! I narrowly avoided getting stabbed by the scissors. My head struck the concrete with the scissors and was shaking off the recoil. I decided to use the opportunity to make a run for it. This really is madness. I hurried to my feet and headed for the exit. But Maya had recovered and didn't take long to catch up with me. Amidst all the chaos, I couldn't help but be amazed at her resilience. She was surprisingly fast for such a mink-looking person. Not the time, not the time, not the time! I snapped out of it just as Maya was about to strike me from behind. I veered to the right and she ended up running right past me. But as she went by, her scissors managed to scratch me across the waist. I was bleeding. It was nothing major, but it still stung a bit. But that was nothing compared to what she might have done if I didn't move in time. I screeched to a halt right in front of the turnstiles. Panting lightly, she slowly turned around and stared at me. My blood was trickling down the tip of the scissors. I held the blade up to her mouth and licked it clean.
It's still your blood.
Huh? Her voice was so soft that I couldn't hear what she said.
Echo. It's still your blood! Why is your blood in that creature's body? I have to get it out! It has to come out! Get it out!
Maya howled medically and charged towards me again. I friendly turned back and ran the other way. God damn my head, man, voicing all this shit. But since she was already close by, she caught up in no time at all. It's like, goddamn it, breathe between it, but the music is like intense. Jeez. And her attacks had become more frenzied than before. It became harder and harder to avoid her. I had to keep looking over my shoulder to avoid her attacks, but I also had to keep a lookout in front of me to avoid tripping or running into something. Maya was fast, but due to her shorts, as her reach wasn't very good. Although from time to time her scissors would make contact with my lower midsection. It was just like earlier when she was trying to read the timetables, but she had to stand on her toes because they were too high up for her to see.
Echo, you can stop running now. I promise it'll be over soon.
Maya called out to me from behind in a playful tone, but as I turned back to look at her, her expression was anything but playful. Her face appeared to be stuck in that deranged smile. It was absolutely terrifying, and I shuddered to think just how much more deranged that smile would become if she ever caught me.
Careful, Echo. Better watch out. Don't fall.
She continued to taunt me childishly, or so I thought. I had been paying so much attention to Maya that I had forgotten to watch where I was going, and suddenly, whoa! Before I had a chance to react, I had run right off the edge of the platform and landed face first onto the train tracks below. Ah, damn it! My whole body was aching, both from the exhaustion of running for my life and from falling onto the hard rocky tracks. But in spite of all that, I somehow managed to get back onto my feet. My legs were trembling, but not from fatigue.
Are you alright, Echo?
That devishly playful voice, lacking any ounce of compassion. I looked back up at the edge of the platform to see Maya gazing down at me with scissor in hand and a very sadistic smile on her face.
Now's not the time to be playing with rocks, Echo. We need to hurry up and get you out of that creature's body before the train. Oh, look. It's already here.
I sharply turned my head to the right to spot the train heading straight towards me. It was a bit of a ways off, but what were the odds I'd show up now all times? But if I didn't get off the tracks quick, I was going to get run over. For a moment I just stood there frozen in terror. I was so scared I wasn't able to think clearly. The train was coming closer. Now was not the time to lose focus. I shook my head violently to snap myself out of it. Okay, Echo, quickly! Which way should I go? Clearly the save, because there's a bad ending and there's a good ending. Man, I need to breathe, man. My brain needs oxygen. All this reading this shit is just like, Back to the first platform. Damn it, no time! I ran back to the platform that I fell from. I leaped onto the edge and began to pull myself back up. Ordinarily, it would have been easy to get back up there, but my body was so exhausted from running around that it was proving to be difficult. Come on! I forced my weary body to pull itself up. I was almost there when... There was Maya crouched down in front of me at the edge of the platform, hovering her scissors directly above my fingers. Maya, please!
Don't worry, Echo. This will surely free you from that creature's body.
Ah! I landed back on the tracks, just in time for my train to arrive. Bad end. What, did you have a Lion King moment there? I need... Just give me a second, man. I feel like I can barely breathe with reading all this shit, so I'll be right back.